Well, hello everybody out there, and welcome to another week of Brian's Basement, episode 57. We're in the fifth season, and we've got a good one for you tonight. We've got a really interesting one, I think, and I'm so excited to share it with you. We are in the middle, in the heart of Song a Day in May, a writing challenge that I started doing last year and I'm doing this year. So I'm writing songs every day. And one of the things that I realized is that I need some help. I need some help writing these songs. And so I turned to divination methods. Ooh! And so we'll talk about what that means and some examples of some divination methods. And we're going to play a game tonight. We're going to play Guess That Divination Method. So that's going to be fun. And then we also have a poem. We're going to read a poem tonight. We're really just having just a whole day down here in Brian's basement. So I'm glad you're here. I'm going to kick it off with actually just a cover so I don't gab in one long streak. This is a song I haven't thought about in years, and it came up this weekend when I was talking to a friend, and I actually remembered most of it because it's so short. This is a song for the asking by Simon and Garfunkel. It's a song. I like to think of it when people ask me to play songs. No matter how weird or awkward it might be to do so, it is my duty to do it. So this is a song for the asking. Here is my song for the asking. Ask me and I will play. Oh, so sweetly I make you smile. Here is my tune for the taking. Take it, don't turn away. I've been waiting here all my life, thinking it over, I'm sad. Thinking it over, I'd be more than glad to change my ways. For the asking, ask me and I will play. The love that I hold inside. All right, well, let me know what's going on in chat if you're out there. Say hi. I'd love to hear from you. And we're gonna play a game. But first, what is divination? Well, this is just looking at randomness and trying to find patterns out of it. Or in the case of creative type people, trying to find stories out of randomness. This is mostly associated with, most commonly with fortune telling and pseudoscience and that kind of goofery. But it's just it's being able to break out of your shell a little bit and force your brain to find something where there's nothing there, which happens to be very helpful when you're trying to write a song a day in May. And so, being the person that I am, I decided to make a tool for this. So I wrote a tool, a little app, that will give me 4 random elements of songs and mix them up, and then I try to write a song that has all of them. I think it's at briansour.name/app/divination.php. So check that out. Yeah. um, but yeah, so I wrote this little thing to kind of get jogging, try to write something a little bit different. And when I ran it through, it came up with these 4 things. It wanted to know about, it wanted a song that had natural imagery, an artist memory, a futuristic metaphor, and personal opinion. And so I wrote a song with those four things. Uh, and this was written on May 4th, 2021, and it is called Carry On. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot about our game. So there's lots of different there's lots of different divination methods. It's a thing that people have done since there have been people, is um, try to come up with meaning in the nothingness. So you might know these as reading tea leaves, palm reading, looking in a crystal ball, the dowsing rod to find water, uh, and even uh, folding paper to find meaning. So um, there's lots of these different things you may have heard of. So, but they all have names. So the folding paper, that's like the those little things you do in school where you count. That's known as known as papyromancy. So you're a papyromancer if you try to determine the future from folded paper. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read out some of these things I found, and if anyone can just guess what they are, then you win Brian's Basement bucks. But no cheating. So the first one, before I play my song, is arithmancy. Arithmomancy. Arithmomancy? Arithmomancy. What does that mean? I don't know. I'll tell you after the song. But this one was not done with arithmomancy. This was done with my tool I made. It's called Carry On. 14 inches above the stage floor, in a worn-out wooden chair your father made. Background humming like power lines in a downpour. Your mother instructed you to sing as you played. Carry on, oh carry on. Carry on, oh carry on. I think we carried too much for too long. Dead trees propped up by smaller trees. But when you hear the piano sing its song, it's made up of all those little tiny pieces. Carry on, oh carry on. Carry on. If anybody guessed it. Yeah, Jake says, when I hear the word divination, I think of dowsing rods. Yeah, it's like the stick you carry to find well water, and people swear it works. Yeah, Kristen says, everything I know about divination I learned from Harry Potter. This is true. So if you are a Harry Potter fan, you can consider this your class on divination. I don't remember much about Harry Potter, but I do. There was like a weirdo with a crystal ball, I think. Yeah. What's the link to the divination app? Can you repeat it? I'll tell you what, I will put it in here in chat. Because we live in the internet. I think it's app. It might be, I'm going to put apps, but you might need to change it to app. Divination.php. There you go. I think that's right. If it's not, if I spelled divination wrong or apps, it might just be app. I don't know. Anyway, hello Jake, hello Kristen, hello producer Kim. Kim says, would having a lucky number be arithmancy? Good guess. But that is not what arithmancy is. Arithmancy is taking a word and then adding the numeric values of the letters as they appear in the alphabet to make a number. And then it's kind of closely tied to numerology, which is another kind of form of divination. So good guess, Kim. You get 12 basement bucks. Yeah. That's great. Okay. Wow. Jake says the link is right. See? There you go. So if you need some, it just takes, what the tool does is it just takes 2 lists of words. So like the one list had like natural, artist, futuristic, personal, and the other one had kind of like song elements. So like imagery, memory, metaphor, opinion. There's some other ones on there too. I'm just going to keep adding to it as I think of them because it kind of comes up with some different stuff. It's all about trying to break out of your shell. So let's move on. Another divination form that I used. And a lot of this I got from this talk I heard from a game design talk. Oh, wait, I just looked at myself. Oh, no. Oh, no. The mystique is ruined. Now everyone knows that I don't just wear this hat on my head all the time. See, Alex. Hello, Alex. He says, I got these 5. Historic imagery. Contemporary memory. That's that's going to be a tough one to do. Joyous reference. Literary metaphor. And consequential opinion. That could be a pretty good song, actually, I think. That one feels good to me. And you'll strike out sometimes. Sometimes you get stuff and you're just like, and you just keep looking. You just keep looking for things. You keep staring into that crystal ball. And it sounds hokey, but it's just a way to jog your memory. There's nothing mystical or magical about it. It's just how the brain works. That's the way I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, I got a lot of this from a game design talk I saw on YouTube, and she was basically talking about how she uses some of these techniques to, create stories to like really just like break out of whatever block she's having. So a lot of these came to that, and I can give you a link to that. Maybe I'll put it in the description. I always say I'll do stuff like that, and I never remember. But anyway, what's next? Random Wikipedia page. So if you go to Wikipedia, you can click on a random page, and it'll give you something. And like I mentioned, you can strike out. The first one I saw was some actress in the 50s that was married to this guy and divorced him 3 times and kept reconciling and getting back together with him. And then they were divorced, but they still lived together for like 30 years. I was like, there's a song there, but I don't know about that. But then I found this other article that I thought was fascinating. And I'm not going to tell you which one it is. But this is the song that came from. It's called The Bishop. I forgot about the game again. I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to play the first bar of every song and forget about the game. This one. Here we go. This is a common one. This one, I'll give you a clue. This one is very related to like fortune tellers. And like, in the like gypsy cart and stuff like that. Cartomancy. Cartomancy. What is cartomancy? Anyway, this song is called The Bishop. His age is showing through his out-of-style fashions, made for a time long gone by of battlefields and rations. He leans back in his chair, throws mortar at the targets, sitting unwittingly where he can't see out in the distance. Oh, why do they make them this way? What was possibly in their heads to design such a creature whose most prominent feature is the single greatest disadvantage. Said his friends call him the bishop, but we've never heard it said. And he brags about his mighty clout, and we sigh and shake our heads. He props himself with a cane, because there's no bending left in his knees. And when he's gone, another comes along, and he calls himself the priest. Oh, why do they make them this way? What could possibly be in their heads to design such a creature whose most prominent feature is their single greatest disadvantage? Yeah, why do they make them this way? What could possibly be in their heads to design such a creature whose most prominent feature is their single greatest disadvantage? Okay, Kim says, oh, look at this. Kim says, cartomancy, is it traveling fortune teller in the back of a horse cart? Could be. That's good divination from what I said about the and then she says, or is it cartomancy, like tarot cards? It is. And Kristen said tarot cards. And Jake says, is it fortune telling by reading a map? That's really interesting, Jake, because that was my original thought too. And I had on my list of songs to write, I was going to just go on Google Maps and pick a place and write a song about it. But that would be like squarely in my wheelhouse in my shell. So I was like, let's not do that one. But yes, good job, Kristen and Kim. 12 Brian's Basement Bucks divided by 2. So that's 6 to each of you. Good job. But yeah, cartomancy is living my life by the teaching of Mario Kart. That's what Tom the Bomb says. Hey, man, that's good. Yeah, that's good actually. But you can do it with anything. You could do it with Mario Kart. You could look at the like time trial readings of the computer players and be like, what do these numbers mean? And really just kind of go in your head. But good job, everybody. Tarot cards are fascinating because the way that this woman put it in her talk was that she just uses the cards to flip them over and to just like say like what story do these cards tell? Because they're a tarot card. If you don't know, it's like this set of cards from like the Middle Ages that have like different characters and events on them. So there's like death, and then there's like the Four of Cups, and then there's like just goofy stuff. But the problem was I went to look for like a deck online where I could just flip over cards, and it was all about just like, oh, if you give us $20, we'll tell you your fortune. And I was like, no, like I'm really just trying. So I might add that to my app is tarot card thing once I get a list and find some free pictures I can use. So I wanted to do tarot. We'll look at that by the end of the month. I'm certain. So yes. All right. What's next? Oh. Well. I'm missing one. There it is. Here's another divination method. This is a very common one. A lot of people, I don't remember. See, I should have looked up the official word. There's a list. So you can't cheat now, but I will tell you that if you're interested, there's a list on Wikipedia that has all kinds of weird things on it. And we'll talk about some of those weird ones later. So all these have official names, but I forgot to look them up. A very common method is dreams. Dream interpretation. What's it mean? Does it tell your future? What's it say about your past? I'm a big dreams guy. Big dreams guy. I think they're super interesting and weird. So yeah, a lot of people will say, you can tell your future from dreams, or, that dreams have meaning. Some people say they're just random things, and that's fine too, because you can still make stories out of random stuff. That's the whole point of what we're doing today, right? So I didn't have a dream. Um, I did have a dream actually that I was thinking about writing a song about. I might later. But actually, I was thinking about this. I had I guess you could call it a daydream, a really early memory surface, and so I thought I would write about that. Um, Probably I don't know when this was, um, but it must be a really long time ago. But I remember playing with my brother. I think it was at the hospital, like the play place at the hospital, and they had these like play houses. So I don't know if we were there, if like Kristen was sickly. I don't know, maybe she can tell us. But I remember these weird playhouses. They were like really big, and it was like nighttime too, which was like weird. I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if mom or dad out there in the chat can say what that was about. But anyway, I think that's got to be in the running. So this is a song about the earliest memories. What is your earliest memory? The furthest back that you know. Animals at the zoo on a hot day, playing in the winter snow. You were young back then. Everything seems like a dream, because they're big and abstract, and you cannot grow to meet them. Were you in the hospital? Did you fall off your bike? Before there were cameras everywhere, only you can know what it felt like. I think that there were playhouses inside a room with ceiling glass. Funny how some things stick with you after all the time that has passed. Sweet. All right, I forgot to play the game, so we'll play the game right now, because actually we're going to read a poem. We've never done that on this show. But here's an easy one. This is a softball, because I didn't know how we were doing. Horoscopy. What could that possibly be? So I'm glad I forgot that one. That wasn't that good. But I didn't know. Anyway, what is it? Tell me. We're going to read a poem now. One of the divination methods I'm going to talk about later is about looking in books of poems for lines, and then finding that. Oh, we got an update on the memory. It says, yes, that was when Kristen was in Children's Hospital. They had little houses, and it was evening. You were there visiting Kristen and me. Dad brought you up. You were almost 3 years old. Isn't that crazy? That's wild. I remember one was like space themed. It kind of looked like a half capsule, and it had like a slide maybe, and it had like carpet on it. It's so weird. Like the things, like that's taking up. I want to say precious brain space, but there's nothing precious in there. So, yes. Kim says horoscopes. Jake says finding meaning in horror movies. There is videomancy, which is finding something in movies. But yes, Kim's right. 14,000 basement bucks for Kim. And yeah, horoscopes are basically the alignment of the stars when you were born. That's what it is. So people have been trying to derive meaning from that for years. Let's get back to business, though. Poetry. One of the things we're going to do later, I did this later, but I wanted to read this poem now. I was like going through and just like, picking out stuff from this. But I found this poem, and I wanted to read it to you all because it made me so, like, it made me feel things. And I want to share those feelings with you. This is a poem by Charles Bukowski, who's, he has a poem called, like, Style that's, like, it's like really famous. But anyway, I'm gonna read this poem to you, and then we'll talk about it, and you'll know very quickly on why this poem made me feel things. All right, so this is called Poetry Readings by Charles Bukowski. Poetry readings have to be some of the saddest damn things ever. The gathering of clansmen and clansladies, week after week, month after month, year after year, getting old together, reading on to tiny gatherings, still hoping their genius to be discovered. Making tapes together, discs together, sweating for applause. They read basically to and for each other. They cannot find a New York publisher or one within miles. But they read on in the poetry holes of America, never daunted, never considering the possibility that their talent might be thin, almost invisible. They read on before their mothers, their sisters, their husbands, their wives, their friends, the other poets, and the handful of idiots who have wandered in from nowhere. I am ashamed for them. I am ashamed that they have to bolster each other. I am ashamed for their lisping egos, their lack of guts. If these are our creators, please give me something else. A drunken plumber at a bowling alley, a prelim boy in a 4-rounder, a jock guiding his horse through along the rail, a bartender on last call, a waitress pouring me coffee, a drunk sleeping in a deserted doorway, a dog munching on a dry bone, an elephant's fart in a circus tent, a 6 p.m. Freeway crush, the mailman telling a dirty joke. Anything but these. Yeah, so anyone that knows what I'm all about can probably surmise that this was very jarring to me as a open mic person and general proponent of creation for creation's sake. And it struck me at first I got very angry. Well, good for you, Charles Bukowski, American poetry legend. I'm glad that you didn't have to read at poetry readings and you got a publisher. Good for you. So that was my first reaction to this. Was just like anger, just like how dare you. But then when I thought about it more, and I thought about Bukowski in his life, he was a person that wrote a ton in his 20s, and he basically couldn't get published, and he basically gave up, and he trying to get published, and he went on to just write, and he didn't really start getting traction until he was in his 50s, and so it's hard for me to imagine that somebody like that with that life could write this, and then it dawned on me that Bukowski is probably looking at himself in this. Bukowski is there's an element of self-loathing here. Whenever he's at one of these things, that he is just a loser and playing for the other losers and doing that sort of thing. And that is something that you start to think about when you play for the same 10 people on your internet show every week. And he says, "I'm ashamed for their lisping egos, their lack of guts." So what is if that is the cowardly thing to do, then what is the brave thing to do? I think what he's really trying to say is you need to be able to put yourself out there and put your stuff out there in not safe spaces, to go to different readings, different people, put yourself in a scenario that could go very, very, very wrong artistically. And so I started to not have such an angry association with this poem. But there's one more thing that I notice about this, and the thing that and I think that you can read this poem differently. If you take out all the parts about trying to find a publisher or trying to be popular or searching for external acceptance. So I'm going to read the first part of the poem without that. And I think you'll see, to me, it sounds wonderful. Week after week, month after month, year after year, getting old together, reading on to tiny gatherings, making tapes together, discs together, sweating for applause. They basically read to and for each other. They read on and on in the poetry holes of America, never daunted, they read on and on before their mothers, their sisters, their husbands, their wives, their friends, and other poets. Sounds pretty damn nice to me. So that is Poetry Readings by Charles Bukowski. I just had to share it because I was like, when I saw it. Anyway, back to the show. Yeah, Kristen says he thinks she's using self-deprecating humor. Yeah, and he's like a sad sack of shit anyway, so that's probably where that was coming from. Anyway, let's talk about what's next. So we talked about the poem book, and we'll do that again later. But I'm also going to talk about... Did I miss one? I did miss one. No, we didn't. Hold on. I'm lost. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're gonna do. Let me take a drink. Next divination method we're going to talk about is one that is also very common, and came up in the talk. It's what's known as Bible dipping. The official word, bibliomancy. So I got my little New Testament that the guy on the college campus gave me back in the day, and I opened it up and I stuck my finger in it and I read what it said. And so for example, this is what I just did just now. For all things are for your sakes, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many rebound to the glory of God. That's a tough one. I don't really know what to do with that one, but you strike out sometimes. You just keep poking around. But the one that I found, when I wrote this song was this. This is Acts 24:14. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the God of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law, in the prophets. And this was the situation where I read this and immediately knew what it's a person that is clinging to the past. I was like, oh, I've got bounds and bounds and bounds of this. So I just had to take it. Even though this experience is to break you out of your shell, I could not pass this one up. So that is Acts 24:14. Tommy says the segment needs an intro like Brian's Boombox. Brian's old dusty book of poems. Yeah. No. That would be too much of copying Joe Pug if I did that every week. So that was just a one-time thing. Anyway, this song is called Heresy. It was written by Bibliomancy. I confess that I cannot keep up with time's march. More for preference than ability. When I pay a rare visit to the temple, they are astounded at the gall of my heresy. For I follow in the ancient ways forgotten. Somewhere in the woods beneath a stone is a tool that's sharper through the ages than my father and his father's father honed. I am an idolater. I am a relic. I am a weary acolyte. But I am not a heretic. But I will be moved like sandstone. A new gorge carved within me, worn down by righteous currents. My reformation complete. I am an idolater. I am a relic. I am a weary acolyte. But I am not a heretic. I am an idolater. I am a relic. I am a weary acolyte. But I am not a heretic. All right. The game for that one was Cryptomancy. If you want to wager a guess on that one that I forgot to tell you all. Scott's here. Hello, Scott. Oh man, he's dropping some knowledge. Huh. Yeah, I'll let y'all read that one. That one's too deep for me to grok right now. Scott, good to see you though. All right, we're gonna do another one. Oh, this was a fun one. I like this one. This divination method is called Shiritori. It's Japanese. And it's a game that that people learning the language, children or foreigners or whatever, use to learn the Japanese kanji. I think it's how it's pronounced. I don't know anything about Japan generally. But anyway, so what this is you take in English, the English version of this is you take a word and you take the last letter of it, and that's what you start the first word with, the next word with. And then that last letter, you start the next word, and you just do that. You make a string of these kind of random words, and you do it like word association. Just, whatever comes off the top of your head. So I did it with my poetry book here, Brian's dirty old poetry book, and so I'll do a demonstration right now. You just stick your whatever this household, D, dog, Uh, game. Household dog game. What is a household dog game? I don't know. What story does it tell? Can you write a song about a household dog game? Maybe, maybe not. Well, the word that I came up with was thatched. So I did thatched, disaster, runaway. So what is a thatched disaster runaway? Well, I'm about to tell you in song form, and and the song is called Thatched Disaster Runaway, creatively. Uh, Jake's guess for cryptomancy is trying to find meaning crypto candlestick trading charts. I don't know, man. I don't know what that means, but I'm a little fuzzy right now, so it could be it. Cryptomancy is the of omens, which to me kind of seems like it's kind of like a one more layer deep. It's like what is an omen, but just like interpreting an event as something. So defining off of an omen seems like like Inception of divination. But anyway, this one while I play the song, the one you all need to guess is cyclomancy. Cyclomancy. What does that mean? In the meantime, this is Thatched Disaster Runway. Our home was simple, just clay and grass. Warm fire in the hearth, dirt floors to the thatch, and they came with their arrows, tipped with the same fire. But our armies faltered, turned our house into a pyre. When it was finally quiet, I tallied up my stock. My brother was dead, and I lost all my flock. Packed my bags full of nothing. On the intact wall stood the king, and he said, "Are you not going to rebuild your home? Are you not a coward for leaving?" It took years to build my house, and you could not save it for a day. And now you play the victim. I'd be a coward if I stayed. Oh boy. If someone finds meaning in the number of their salary or amount of money in their bank account, does that pass as some weak tea douche version of divination? Like, well, I think a lot of stock market speculation is essential divination. So I think that there's whole careers built on that, Alex. We got some guesses for cyclomancy. We've got we've got cyclomancy. Kim says playing spin the bottle for destiny. Oh boy. Alex says cyclomancy, finding meanings through attending Cincy Cyclones game. I've done that before. I have done that, especially dollar beers. Yep. Uh, he's okay. um, Alex says maybe including casting spells and divining omens with your empty beer stocks against the glass and foretelling what players knocking it on. That's true. The beer mid omancy would be pretty neat. Kristen says cyclomancy, where a cyclops tells you your fortune before it eats you. Not the most useful form of divination. You should use something else to predict that would happen. Scott says fancy mancy, finding meaning in the way your nice silverware lies in the sink. You got Brian's basement bucks for everyone. One lucky Brian's basement buck for every single person. Good job, everybody. Cyclomancy is divining through wheels, which you might know as the Wheel of Fortune. So round and round the big wheel goes. Where it stops, no one knows. Cyclomancy. All right. Well, before we go, I got one more song for you, but I want to read some of these other funny ones that are interesting that I found on this Wikipedia page. It's worth a read, this Wikipedia page. Sciomancy, divining through shadows. You look at a shadow and say, "Hey, I think that this is going to tell me something." Bleedinism is divining through water currents. I like this one because I like looking at creeks and stuff in like parks with like moving water. Is like really fascinates me. So maybe I'm a bleedinist. This one's great. I love this one. Gyromancy, divining through dizziness. So it's like what you spin you around and wherever you go, that's where you end up. I think that's pretty funny. Dizzy bat is a form of that. And finally, this one was actually in the talk, and this is how she introduced divination. I can't read my handwriting, but I believe it's scalpomancy, and that is divining through shoulder blades. So, what some of these ancient peoples would do is they would take the shoulder blades of a cow, and they would burn it on a fire, and then when it was all charred up, it would crack. And then they would take the cracks and the holes that formed and use it as their hunting map. And why this works is because it adds randomness to your hunting party. So you don't go to the same place and hunt every single time, and ruin the ecosystem or just be not successful because you keep going to the same place on accident. So they would do this to basically. A very practical result of this was to keep their hunting successful. So I thought that was really interesting. Scalpomancy. Brian and the Scalpomancers. New band name. All right. Last one we're going to do. Finally we get here. Poetry. It's called, I wrote this one down too. Rhapsodomancy is the rhapsodomancy. I don't know. It's looking at poems. You take your dirty old book of poems and you open it up and you pick a line, and this says, this line is cool. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests his beauty on the water. That's pretty cool. You could write a song about that. But I did this a couple times. You strike out on these. I'll bet I strike out on this one I do right here. But the day when I rose at dawn from the bed of perfect health, refreshed, singing, inhaling the right breath of autumn. No, that's actually pretty good. Anyway, sometimes you get bad ones, though, that are just kind of like connecting lines. But I got one in a poem called Summer Morning by Charles Simic. It's called, and the line that I pointed to was, I know all the dark places. So that's what this song is called. Oh, and I've got one more game. Graphology. Graphology. All right, so we'll see what happens. Great. There's a creek that flows beneath the road in town, through the tunnel formed by what barely is a bridge. The road itself beneath the railroad trusses that span the stone wall cut in the ridge. I know where to go when there's nowhere left, where there's only shadows and silhouetted faces. I know the locations the others cannot see. I know all the dark places. There's a bar that doesn't have a single window where you can smoke still, for here there is no law. And it's covered every surface with red duct tape, and you piss through a hole in the wall. I know where to go when there's nowhere left, where there's only shadows and silhouetted faces. I know the locations that others cannot see. I know all the dark places. There's the neighborhoods with falling down houses. There's the interstate underpass that offer refuge. And even sunny porches in the Bible beater's house cast shadows on somewhere conveniently out of view. I know where to go when there's nowhere left, where there's only shadows and silhouetted faces. I know the locations that others cannot see. I know all the dark places. All right. Tommy says Smitty's. Yeah, that's definitely where the red duct tape line came from. A bar called Smitty's. Also has no windows and you can smoke there. Actually, yeah, that whole line is about Smitty's, basically. We've got some guesses on cryptomancy, or graphology, interpreting points on a plotted graph, like to find trends. That is a good guess, but that's not correct. Mom coming in, something to do with writing. Yes, it is the analysis of handwriting to find random patterns. You know, a teacher would be the one to get that one right. So, good job, Mom. You can have all the basement bucks you want. Mom's rules. I'm going to do this just because I wasn't going to do this, but it's just on here. This is the song I wrote yesterday, so I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little stuffed up and feeling under the weather tonight. So this weekend, I went and hung out with some friends in a cabin, all vaccinated, and we just did some hiking and fishing. It was a good time. And then I got home, and then I got sick, which is probably just a result of my immune system not being, practiced well enough the past year. It's just a cold, not COVID related. But so I wrote a poem. This is a song, but I don't have music for it yet, but I thought I'd read it because it's relevant. Bunker boy sitting in his bunker, ready to emerge like a king, prepared for the worst situation, surrounded by the worst of everything. He's got ammo to fend off the invaders, gas masks to save him from disease, MREs and canned food for his sustenance, ventilation to filter out WMDs. He emerges from his hole years later. Everything looks like it did before. He feels a little silly for the doomsday prepping and figures he doesn't need it anymore. And he gets shot shopping at the local mall, catches a virus variant without a vaccine, upgrades from MREs to frozen TV dinners, and coughs from the polluted air he breathes. Bunker Boy. All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in and being so lively in the chat and making me laugh tonight. That is very much needed, so I appreciate that. And I hope you enjoyed divination methods. I'm going to keep doing this. We might do this again because May is not even halfway over, and boy howdy am I tired of writing songs already. So I got to write a song tonight after this. So yeah, so if you're interested in this sort of thing, look it up. It's a little weird, but it's not like, I'm trying to tell you, it's like not that weird. Like you can like play with tarot cards and not be like some kind of goofy fortune teller person. Okay, great. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And as always, stay safe out there. Do something nice for yourself and do something nice for someone else if you can. And try not to get sick out there. And when you do, come back next week and tell me about it on Brian's Basement. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.